In this video, it's time to say goodbye to the Toyota Camry. It's off to a new home. I've received the money this very morning for it. Someone is on their way to collect it right now. So it's time to reflect on what is probably one of my worst purchases ever. We set out to buy a Berlingo and I somehow ended up with a V6 automatic Toyota Camry. Not my finest move ever. It's been sat here since February because the last time I drove it, it lost so much coolant. I began to think driving this is just a recipe for disaster. The exhaust is now blowing, so yeah, it hasn't moved for months. But if we go round, it seems to have lost even more coolant just sitting here, even though there's no puddles on the ground. If we turn the key, we're already doing 100 miles an hour. Oh no, we're slowing down. That speed sensor is still all over the place. As long as the mileage doesn't keep going round, it's fine. It is just a speedometer needle. And I can reflect on the only reason I bought this car, which was the twin rear wipers. Yeah. Was that money well spent? It's effectively cost me £1,000. I've sold this car for £1,000, I paid £2. And yeah, that is kind of the only reason I bought this car, was because it has two rear wipers. I've always been fascinated by these cars, in truth. Very, very unusual styling. And there we go again. But won't run it too long because I don't think there's very much coolant in it at all. Still got over a quarter of a tank of fuel. But at least we know she runs, so it should make getting it onto the recovery truck all the more easy. Yeah, it just hasn't panned out well, that one. There was definitely a question of buying with the heart, and not even a little bit with the head, not even a tiny amount did I think this was a good idea. The seller was a bad seller, and I knew it was a bad seller before I bought the car. The head gasket had clearly failed, and we can show you more proof of that. This is some sensible advice to you all. I do hate that bong. Go away, bong. Not that I can complain, the Berlingo does exactly the same thing. I don't mind leaving the key in the ignition. Yeah, if you're going to look at a car and the inner wing near the expansion bottle looks like that, run for the hills, run away. Even if it means you've got to get another train home, even if the train journey to get to the car was so horrendous, you're questioning whether you ever want to get on a train again. The train broke down, as you may recall. I think that was the earth trying to tell me to stop this purchase at once. Yeah, bad times. I believe the new owner is just going to go for a straight engine swap, which is a bit of a shame because it's all matching numbers, but sometimes you just got to do what's easiest, and I think it's probably easier well, I think the easiest way to work on the engine is to take it out anyway, and then if you've got a good engine, you might as well just put the good engine in. There's no point faffing about. And like anyone, once you sell a car, you have no say over what the next person does. But I want to see this car back on the road. I want to see its problems get addressed. I want to see, you know, things get smartened up a bit where they need to be. And I think it's going to the right home to achieve that. So that's very pleasing. So it's the second buyer. It's a bit like the Sana. First time didn't go through. Well, actually, I suppose technically it's the third. It's been very complicated. But yeah, it's the third buyer has actually put the money in my bank account, which is great. That means I can do things like order Hubnut caps. Someone is going to embroider up some more Hubnut caps, so we'll have them on the store. But yeah, this is just looking at it just pains me. It was definitely better judgment had jumped well out of the window. I just felt the chances of buying another one were so low, but sometimes you're better off just borrowing the car and driving it for one of my normal videos rather than get seduced by two rear wipers and yeah, end up blowing all of your money. See the Datsun 280C video that has just come out on the channel. That's a much better idea. That car belongs to my friends. It remains with them. I had a nice time driving it, and that was all good fun. And you know, I did like driving this, but ultimately the problem was, and the thing that really stopped me wanting to fix it myself, was the fact that I've got a Ford Fairmont, and that's a better car. I genuinely believe it. I'm not sure people in Australia necessarily agreed, because they had the choice of these or a Fairmont, but the Fairmont's got more torque. I think the Fairmont in some ways has a better gearbox, even though it's an older, noisier gearbox. And in terms of economy, they're about the same. High 20s is about all you can expect. But the Fairmont's more comfortable. The suspension in this is quite hard. The seats are quite hard. And when it comes to being a family wagon, this is just hopeless. It's got a cream interior, or beige, or light grey, whatever you want to call it. This is not the colour for a family car. Already you can see those little grubby stains. I think that's just from me getting in and leaning on it this morning. Worst interior possible for a car. And the Hubnuts loved it. They love travelling on the incidental seats in the boot, but they seem happy enough in the Berlingo. So we can consider that a result. So a bit neater than the old Datsun 280C. Rear seats sort of fold out like so. And there you go, you've actually got a decent bit of leg room actually. So yeah, quite a well thought out car. And you'll notice the way the luggage cover has this little thing so it can be held up so it doesn't get in the way of the seat. There's a lot of thought gone into this car. Got a spare wheel hidden under this bulge there. Yeah, it's a shame I never got to do a full review of this car. Because of the issues with the engine and the exhaust, it came off the road, and that meant I never got to film the head-to-head I wanted to film with this and the Fairmont. I'm hopeful that the new owner will get it on the road and we can actually complete that task. I would very much like to, because I never really gave you the full driving impressions of this car. So here's hoping that one day we can achieve that. We're actually getting ready to go away again today. We've got another trip away with Bella and Bob, our folding camper. Oh, and giving away that this car may not be going too far, we'll be staying in Wales, I must say hello to Gwyn. He's the 4-year-old son of the buyer of this car, so I'm sure Gwyn's looking forward to travelling in those rear-facing seats as much as the Hubnuts were. But yeah, I wish the new owner all the best. So happy times. It'll be Bye Camry. It's gone. The Camry has gone. It's actually just being loaded up. It is on its trip to Cardiff, and I think it's going to end up with an engine swap. So all the best to new owners. Look forward to seeing progress. Hopefully we can finally do the head-to-head with Betty I've been wanting to do since I bought the blooming Camry way back in December, was it? Worst Christmas idea ever. But yeah, as you've noticed, we've had a problem with the Berlingo, so it looks like Betty is going to be the tow vehicle for this weekend. So I've been buffing the headlamps, which is not related at all, but needed doing, and exploring the wiring. I found a multi-plug in the wiring. There's a little plug ready to go for the loom for the electrics here, but of course this is Kiwi Electrics. I think the same as Australia. There we go. That isn't going to work for us. So as I haven't got the male plug to go in there, I can't do the conversion this end. But I can do it in the boot. Sorry, I've got my phone on very loud, notified to make sure I didn't miss a call from the chap collecting the Camry. So I can cut the loom in there, and it's not the car loom. I'm cutting this little loom down here, and that'll be good. And we've got to change the ball as well. I think this is a 1 inch and 7/8 ball, which is not quite the 50mm ball we use in the UK. So that should be good. Incidentally, doing a lot of looking into towing legislation in this country. If Betty was European, I would have to fit a European approved tow bar that meets all the requirements and is designed specifically for the car. I had a bit of a panic about this on Twitter until people who know better said, haha, there is an exclusion if the vehicle was never type approved in the EU, because obviously there's quite a lot. There's Japanese imports coming over that have never been type approved in the EU. So we should be good to go. We're just changing the ball. We've got a nice solid point there to put the breakaway cable on. We need another new one of those because on the day the suspension broke, we tore the tonneau and destroyed another breakaway cable. Well, not destroyed it, but it caught on something and is ripped and needs replacing again. So that's all good. So yeah, Betty going to be the steed. But I'm going to wind this one up there. So I shall say thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry the Toyota Camry was such an utter disaster, but rest assured Bella the Berlingo will be back, but not in time for Festival of the Unexceptional, so it's likely that Betty is going to get the nod. We did briefly consider using Giselle to tow the camper, but given she's stroppy at the best of times, probably asking for trouble, because French. Yeah, hopefully Betty will be good to do the job. It's going to cost a bit more in fuel, obviously, but that can't be helped. We are where we are. This is the only car that's going to work. Incidentally, if you like my AU, we have stickers available variously. Betty Goes Global, we've still got those in stock. We've got a new I Love AU, so you can tell the world that you love AUs like Betty. We've got those available on the store now. We've also got those in t-shirts, and we're doing a special sticker deal. You can have 6 stickers for a tenner. That's effectively 1 free sticker. So obviously we haven't got any of those anymore, I'm afraid, or those, but we've got these external and these internal, as well as many others. I Love Tuck stickers we've still got as well, because I ordered way too many of those. So yeah, if you'd like to boost your sticker collection, head to the Hubnut store, link in the description below. But otherwise, thank you very much. I'll see you in a future video. Farewell.